16, The Ghost of Apartment 201. Did you hear that? Chrissy whispered, clutching her duvet to her chin as she sat in the living room at 2 a.m. Jack, who had been dreaming of a giant walking cheese, blinked. Hear what? The refrigerator humming. It always does that when it's thinking. No, a tapping sound. Tap, tap, thud. It's coming from inside the walls. Johnny emerged from her bedroom, looking tired. If it's a ghost, I hope it knows how to fix a leaky faucet. Otherwise, it's just another roommate we can't charge rent. The sounds continued for 3 nights. Scrape, bang, cluck. Wait, cluck. The ghost is a chicken. Chrissy proclaimed. It's the spirit of that telegram job you had, Jack. It's come back for revenge, determined to solve the mystery. Jack armed himself with a heavy frying pan and a flashlight. They followed the noise to the small utility closet near the kitchen. Jack kicked the door open. Aha! Reveal yourself, spirit. Instead of a ghost, they found Stanley Roper, covered in soot and holding a wrench. He was crouched inside the crawl space, looking guilty. Mr. Roper, John asked, what are you doing in our walls at 3 in the morning? I'm inspecting the insulation, Stanley blurted out, and trying to bypass the thermostat. Do you know how much you kids are spending on heating? It's like you're trying to melt the polar ice caps. And the clucking? Jack asked. That was my knee. It makes a sound when I crouch too long. Stanley, Helen's voice echoed from downstairs. Are you still playing hide and seek with the pipes? Get down here before you fall through the floor and land in my soup. Stanley scurried away, leaving the roommates with a quiet apartment and a very confused sense of privacy. Well, Jack said, setting down the frying pan, at least we know the ghost isn't after my duck recipe. Chapter 17, Waterbed Woes. It started, as most things did in Apartment 201, with a promise from Larry Dallas and a severe lack of judgment on Jack's part. It's the ultimate in relaxation. Jack, Larry said, leaning against the kitchen counter while Jack tried to prepare a simple omelet. A king-sized, ocean blue waterbed. It's like sleeping on a cloud, only the cloud is made of 60 gallons of temperature-controlled lukewarm water. I don't know. Larry, Jack said. Roper specifically said no heavy furniture. He's already worried about the floorboard sagging under the weight of my cooking books. Roper won't know. It's in your bedroom. Unless he started taking naps in there, you're golden. By that evening, the living room was dominated by a large, deflated plastic bladder and a very long garden hose snaked out through the kitchen window and down to the building's outdoor faucet. Jack, what is this? Jonna asked, stepping over the hose with a look of mounting dread. It's a waterbed, Jonna. A revolution in sleep technology. It looks like a giant jellyfish that's given up on life, Chrissy remarked, poking the plastic. The filling process was going smoothly until Stanley Roper decided to wash his car downstairs. The sudden drop in water pressure caused the hose to jerk, snapping the connection at the faucet. Water began to spray everywhere, mostly into the Ropers' kitchen window. "Jack, shut it off!" Jana screamed as the hose began to whip around the living room like a manic snake. Jack lunged for the hose, tripped over a throw rug, and landed squarely on the partially filled bed. The resulting wave of water launched the puppy into the air and soaked the roommate contract, which Jana had secretly kept for sentimental reasons. "What is going on up there?" Stanley's voice boomed from the stairs. "My kitchen looks like the lost city of Atlantis." Jack scrambled to hide the deflated bed under the rug, but it was too late. Stanley burst in, his eyes wide. "Is that a pool? Are you running an indoor swim club in my building?" It's a leak, Stanley." Jack stammered. "A very large, rectangular, plastic-lined leak. I'm giving you 1 hour to get that thing out of here, or you're all sleeping on the sidewalk." They spent the rest of the night hauling buckets of lukewarm water out to the balcony, laughing hysterically while Stanley muttered about modern kids and water bills. Chapter 18, The Artistic Ambition. Chrissy had a new hobby this week. She was an aesthetic expressionist. "I've signed up for a life drawing class, Jack," she announced, setting up a large easel in the middle of the living room. "I need to capture the essence of the human form." "That's great, Chrissy," Jack said, not looking up from his textbook. "Just don't use my shirts for rags. Actually, I need a model. Someone with character. Someone with a face that tells a story." Well, Stanley's face tells the story of a man who hasn't had a good laugh since 1952. Jack joked. "No, I mean you. Jack, you're the most expressive person I know." Reluctantly, Jack agreed to pose. He sat on a stool, trying to look philosophical, while Chrissy squinted at him and made frantic charcoal marks on the paper. "Can I move yet? My leg is falling asleep," Jack complained after 20 minutes. "No, I'm capturing your inner struggle." The situation became complicated when Stanley Roper entered to check the smoke detector, which was actually his excuse to see if Jack was hiding any more waterbeds. He stopped and stared at the easel. "What is that? Is that supposed to be a person?" Stanley asked, looking at Chrissy's drawing of a jagged, purple-tinted figure with 3 ears. "It's Jack's soul, Mr. Roper," Chrissy explained proudly. "His soul looks like it's been through a blender," Stanley remarked. "And why is he sitting on a stool in his bathrobe in the middle of the day? Don't you kids have jobs?" "I'm artist, Stanley," Jack proclaimed, trying to stay in character. "I'm working on my artistic integrity." "Well, your integrity is blocking the hallway. Move it, or I'm charging you an art gallery fee on next month's rent." Just then, Jana walked in with a giant sunflower. She looked at the drawing, then at Jack, then at Stanley. "You know, Chrissy," Jana said, "I think you've really captured something here." "His soul?" Chrissy asked. "No," Jana laughed. "The way his hair looks when he hasn't had his coffee yet." They spent the rest of the afternoon painting a mural on a large piece of cardboard to hide a scratch on the wall left by the waterbed incident. In apartment 201, even a failed hobby turned into a family project. Chapter 19.